Okay, welcome back. Now, with your identity confirmed in question 1 and your priorities set in question 2, let's go to question number 3, which is the responsibility question. Now, what is the responsibility question? It is, what will I do with my life? Let's look at the picture that we get from the life of Moses. Hebrews 11:25. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a short time. You see, this meant that Moses had to make hard choices. Now, you got to understand this. He lived a life of luxury and convenience, and he moved to a life of high inconvenience. You got to understand the Egyptian people were not favorable to the Jewish people, and their life was made extremely hard physically, emotionally, mentally, all the cases. They were beat down in all 3 ways. Now, what do we get from Moses? Letter A. First, Moses refused the comfortable life because it wasn't God's plan. Now, when you're looking at this, whenever we go, or maybe whenever I go into a discomfort time, I'm thinking, God, what are you doing to me? You got to understand, with Moses, with you, with me, with anybody, when there is discomfort, when there is uncomfortable situations, God's not sitting up in heaven saying, whoa, man, did that one surprise me? But Moses had the attitude, and he welcomed the trials because it was the right thing. Now, for us in the character of our heart, we have to understand, by being a follower of Christ does not mean that your life is all rosy and there's no problems. Nowhere in the Bible do you read, when you read throughout the Old and the New Testament, where was the life of a follower of Christ an easy life. It always had uncomfortable things. The question is, how are you going to engage it? And you saw how Moses did, because he knew it wasn't part of God's plan for him to be in luxury. Letter B, the choices you make will determine your character and the state of your heart. And that will determine how much God is going to be able to use you. You see, what happens with most believers, most leaders that are wrestling through character is that they're going, they're trying to live 1 foot in one world, 1 foot in another world. And in my decades of ministries, those with the most freedom are those that are open about the commitments they're making. And for you to have the character, you've got to understand that you've got to be open with those commitments. There's going to be some people who are going to not like you because of that. There are going to be some people that are going to be totally attracted to you because of that. And there's going to be about 80% of the people that are just going to be waiting to see, where the 10% who like you go. But you got to understand that the more open you are with your commitments that you're doing for Christ, the more freedom that you're going to find in your life mentally, and it will roll into the physical and the other aspects of your spiritual life. Letter C, choose to identify more fully with Christ by accepting responsibility. You see, every day you have a choice. Your plans for you are God's plans for you. And one of the things that we understand from Moses is that he understood that God's plans were the most priority ones that he needed. You see, can I just say this to you? If a choice means discomfort for you, choose discomfort. I mean, obviously, we don't want you to put you in harm's way, so don't take it to the extreme. But understand that sometimes when you're a follower of Christ, when you're doing the character things that are right with God, this world is not going to like it, and they will choose to give you discomfort. What's the 4th thing that we learn from the life and the picture of Moses? Is that you're as close to God as you choose to be. You are as close to God as you choose to be. I love 1 Chronicles 29:17, and this is David writing here. He says, I know, my God, that you test the heart and you're pleased with integrity. Can I just encourage you? Be undivided. Choose the one master that matters the most. And that's what Moses did.